Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons, and oh boy, I have got a busy day ahead of me and then basically a busy 2 weeks because we've got like half of this year's Eurovision songs coming at us in very rapid succession. Starting us off though, today we have Finland, who for the second year in a row has used Uuden musiikin kilpailu to select a song for an artist that's been internally selected. Last year that was Sara Aalto. This year that was Ville Virtanen, better known as Darude, which, like, whoa, featuring Sebastian Rejman, who performs in a group called The Giant Leap. And of the 3 songs that were in the national final this year, the public have spoken and they've gone with a song entitled Look Away, performed fully in English, written and composed by Darude himself and Sebastian Rejman, which is, I suppose, kind of satisfying because I had to look at the composers for the other 2 songs and it looks like this is the only one that was just written by Darude himself and Sebastian. Like, the others had other collaborators, but this was just them 2 working together, and well, let's see how I feel about that. I'm going to save my first impressions for the first impressions part of this review because that makes sense. You know, I'll be the first to admit that I did have some mixed feelings about Darude representing Finland when they first announced it, because I kind of couldn't help but think, but wait, hasn't Darude, like, been and gone already? I was basically worried about his cultural relevance, let's call it. But the thing is, as I thought to myself, Darude is functionally only here as a songwriter. He's not actually performing. And if he weren't presented as the face of the whole song, we kind of wouldn't think twice about his cultural relevance or whatever. And hey, all of the other big songwriting names, Thomas Gerson, Charlie Mason, Darko Dimitrov, just to name a few, could be basically anywhere on the age scale and it wouldn't affect how we view their songs. And I'm happy to report that Look Away for Finland proves that to me perfectly. It's prime Darude material without sounding dated. His age and relevance doesn't come into it, so bravo! Now let's look at some specific positives here. Well, I did just describe the song as being prime Darude material, and I will stand by that description. Everything about this song's composition and presence just exudes an air of professionality that tastes like it was written by someone who knows exactly beat for beat what they're doing, whilst still being in touch with what does and doesn't make a song fit in with current trends, or what does and doesn't make it show its age. Like, it's Darude, yes, but it's not Darude trying to relive the Sandstorm days. He's moving with the times, not trying to make the times shift to suit him, and I respect that. And so what we end up getting in the end is a song that's actually very marketable in the modern market, and it has very broad appeal as a consequence. Generally speaking, if you don't like this song, it just kind of won't resonate with you, and that's okay, but you won't be rioting in the streets over it. And if you do like it, that could range from anywhere between just passively tapping your foot and enjoying it, to going full-on glow sticks in the air party time. It's easy to like, is basically what I'm saying here. Just how much you like it is down to you and your personal thoughts. One key component from that, I think, is that on top of Sebastian's vocals already filling out the song enough to make it fill the stage, which I've spoken of at quite some length this year already, it doesn't get swallowed up, but also the song has the right kind of energy to fill the venue and sort of infect the audience, and I mean that in a good way. It's going to get people moving and feeling certain feelings, and that's exactly the type of response they're going for with a song like this. In that regard, it can only be considered a success story. It has a goal, and it achieves that goal. And finally, and arguably kind of the most importantly, the performance at UMK shows that they already have ideas for how to present this song on a live stage, which is not easy to do for a song of this particular genre, as we've seen in previous years. And yet, here they are, with the cube, with Sebastian's carefully controlled, subtle choreography that doesn't draw too much attention to him or away from the other components of the staging, and with Darude himself being present but not overemphasized. In short, it's as I said, this song is professionals at work. On the flippity flop of that though, okay, I did just say that this song comes across very professionally on stage and in the studio, but I won't deny, There are some flaws with the live staging as it currently is. For one, there's a part of the song where the dancer collapses and sort of hides from the camera to give the impression that she's fallen inside the cube, which is then carried on by the LEDs on the side of the cube, only for the camera to then sort of zoom out and pan out and just show her lying on top of the cube, and in that lime green dress it's kind of hard to miss her, and thus the illusion is completely destroyed. Similarly, there's another point in the song where the camera just randomly zooms in on Darude while he's pretending to play the keyboard, because of course no live instruments at Eurovision. Face it, he might be on the cover of the single, and he might be right there in the credits, but he's not the focus of the song when it's being performed live. Directing our attention to him will do Finland about as many favours as when Poland's camera crew focused on Grow Me last year, i.e. none whatsoever. It's good staging, just please don't let awkward camera work ruin it, okay? And my only other critiques here do pertain to the lyrics. Namely, for one, this song is a little bit repetitive in the lyric department, but that kind of gets a free pass from me personally because, well, I grew up on music like this, amongst other genres, so I know that it's sort of a staple of the style. It's, this sort of song usually has vapid and repetitive lyrics because they're not the front and centre focus, and Darude knows that all too well firsthand. Still, if you're more accustomed to standard Eurovision fare where lyrics play a much more central role, you might find this one to be a little bit light in the substance department. It doesn't bother me as much though, but what does bother me about it is the actual content of the lyrics. Put simply, this song that's meant to just be of a mindless fun time genre is trying much too hard to be preachy. Like, come on, are you really about to stand there on stage and sing to me about the ramifications of global warming and social consciousness with an EDM backing track by Darude? Am I meant to be having a fun time, a guilt trip, or an anxiety attack? There's juxtaposition, and then there's just slamming themes together that almost contradict each other in tone and hoping that they work. At best, all I can say in response to the lyrics is, not now, please. Like, yeah, he does have a point. Yeah, it's a valid message, but there's a time and a place for worrying about it, and a party atmosphere is definitely not such a time or a place. Is that just me? Moving on, scores out of 10. Well, as I've revealed over several reviews over the years, this kind of music formed a cornerstone of what I personally grew up on, alongside rock, metal, techno, and rave. And so, perhaps it's nostalgia speaking when I say that this gets a 9 out of 10 from me personally. I really do like this sort of thing, and Look Away is a prime example of this sort of thing done very well in the present day. And bonus perk, I'm glad that they've already got live staging ideas for it. True, the Uden Musiikin Kilpailu staging was completely different from the Eurovision staging for Finland last year, but just the fact that they have ideas that work for it at all is encouraging at this stage. The only thing stopping me from giving it a 10 out of 10 personally is how cheesy the preachiness of the song's lyrics is. You don't have to ham-fistedly shove a moral into your song just because it's Eurovision. Please, just let your song be what it is as natural. It's not much to ask. On the technical side of things, meanwhile, I'm feeling like a 9 out of 10 is in order there, too. I admit, I kind of hate it when my personal and technical scores are the same number because it looks like one is influencing the other or something like that. In reality, it's just that, for what this song sets out to do, it does achieve it, like I said, and to really good effect for that matter. It's just, there's a small number of things that just sort of snowball together and add up that cause me to hesitate on that 10 out of 10. Stuff like, the occasional blips in the cinematography, or the repetition in the lyrics considering that the lyrics are trying to present a narrative with a conscience, or that the lyrics are trying to have a conscience at all despite this being a Darude song. Still, it's a much stronger entry than I was expecting when Darude was first announced, and I'm happy with it, so 9 out of 10. Now, is Finland doing well for themselves at the moment? After some careful thought, I'll land on a yes. Since they shifted to a single-act 3-song national final last year, in theory, they have made things better for themselves because the broadcaster can flex some muscles behind the scenes to get hold of a big name to perform for them, i.e. Sarah Alto last year, Darude this year, and who knows next year, and then specifically workshop 3 potential entries with them that they feel best showcases their range, talents, and what they as an artist want to bring to Eurovision. It's more focused and holistic, at the expense of the national final being shorter and more exhausting for the artist they've chosen, having to perform 3 songs back to back to back like that. But I feel like I said all of this last year. Still true. Will Darude bring his country into Saturday's final, though, meanwhile? For the I don't know how manyth time this year, I can only say that I'm not sure. I'm 60 to 70% kind of on the side of probably, because somewhere between this song being legitimately enjoyable and by a well-known artist, and it being a marketable song that will likely chart in several countries by an artist still present in the awarenesses of the youth of today by way of memes, I think it will attract enough positive attention to keep Finland afloat. I mean, look at Moldova in 2017. People recognised Sergei Stepanov and really flocked to Hey Mama. They could have a similar effect this year because Darude, Sandstorm, everyone knows his name. It worked for Sarah last year as well, the whole national final format and the she's popular, just give her what she wants in terms of song and off you go. If nothing else, Finland has got a quality song on their hands once again. Then again, Poland didn't have much luck with this sort of genre last year, so it's not as if I don't have any concerns at all, but for the time being, I think I'm rather optimistic about Finland's chances to at least make the final. But how about you? As ever, let me know. There's the iCard, there's the poll, you can let me know how you feel, there's the comments, you can tell me in your actual human person words how you feel about this song. Let's have a conversation, I'd love to hear how you feel about it. But while you're having a think about that, I can just say to Sebastian, to Ville, or Darude if you prefer, and to the whole Finnish delegation, I wish you the very best of luck for when you hit the stage in Tel Aviv, and I don't think you'll let me down, so I look forward to seeing what you've got.